So one of the things that I find very difficult, because I don't read a lot of plant-based or vegan literature, is
Sure.
effectively communicating to people what it feels like to be sort of on this side of
I
the
know.
sober, sleeping well, meditating, and definitely plant-based lifestyle
Yeah.
life. Like what living in this body at 44 feels like compared to any other point in my adult life. It is a
Yeah.
it's almost impossible to communicate it. But um, part of your work is to try to study this, right? So
Yes.
so so share a bit about the work that you're doing right now to help to
Sure.
bring some science and some clinical awareness to the value of this lifestyle.
Yeah. So when I got out of recovery, I spent 10 months in sober living. So by that point, I had been nearly a year of recovery. And here I am. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm on zero medications. I'm running for the first time in my life, and I have all this confidence and belief that all this stuff is now possible, that the world is now possible. And I thought this is interesting because a lot of the people, the same most of the people that I went through recovery with, who I lived with through those 10 months, had either ended up on the same medications but higher dosages, on more medications, had either gained weight and been diagnosed with more chronic disease.
Mm-hmm.
So what does the research say? Right? Where's the research on nutrition and early addiction recovery? And there isn't any. There's never been a study ever done
Wow.
investigating the effect of nutrition on early addiction recovery outcomes. And
Wow.
when I say early addiction recovery outcomes, we're not looking at sobriety. What you're looking at is the mental health outcomes that are measurable through early addiction recovery stages. So from day one of exiting detox to say 6 months.
Okay.
And that's ridiculous because when you go into treatment, when you check into a rehab hospital, not only are you fed the exact same thing as everyone else, you're fed at the exact same time. Like it's a perfect controlled environment. How has
Right.
this never been investigated? So last year, I founded my nonprofit, which is called Plant Based for Positive Change, with the sole purpose of running the very first study to investigate those things. And it's called the Infinite Study. And what it is a 10-week intervention where we are doing a controlled trial to investigate the differences and the impact of diet on addiction recovery outcomes. So an individual will spend within the first 24 hours of checking out of detox, they have the opportunity to join the study. And they are put into either the control diet,
Okay.
which is the diet that's currently being served at the treatment center, which I'll go ahead and say it is a elevated Western diet. There's not a lot of refined processed foods at all. There's still meat, eggs, dairy, and oil. And then there's the treatment diet, which is a oil-free, plant-based diet. No added sugar, no added oil, whole intact plants. And what we're measuring is the impact that those diets have on various blood biomarkers, so full lipid panel, high sensitivity C-reactive protein, which is a measure for inflammation, omega-3, which is a huge factor in brain health. We're also looking at various vitamins like B12, D3, and we're also looking at changes in what's called your gut microbiome. And for people who don't know what that is, the gut microbiome is about 4 to 6 pounds of bacteria that exist within your gut. And what these bacteria do is they do processes for your body that your body cannot do for itself. Specifically, the conversion of specific nutrients to short chain fatty acids. And those short chain fatty acids do lots of things like the production of neurotransmitters, for
Mm.
example. And what's really fascinating is that, Marcus, if I were to take you and count up all the number of cells that are your human cells, right? The Marcus cells, it would number about 10 trillion. There's 10 trillion Marcus cells. If I were to number and count the number of cells that make up your gut microbiome, it's 300 trillion. You are technically less than 10% human if you look at all the cells in your
Wow.
body. That is how impactful the
Wow.
microbiome is.
Wow.
So we're looking at those changes and how they relate to changes of validated scales of measuring anxiety, depression, self-compassion, resiliency, spiritual healing, eating disorder, mania, obsessive compulsive drug use. So what we're looking at is how does food, nutrition education create a stronger foundation for which someone then has the ability to reconnect meaningfully to their life. And so we're really excited about it.
And